Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target morning brief where we invest with a fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. I'm your host, Steve Ankerstar. We've got a great show for you today and a new format. Hope you like it. Reach out and let me know your thoughts. As far as we're right in the middle of earnings season, so we got a lot of earnings to talk about. We've got the futures are kind of down big coming off a negative weekend because there's no stimulus. We're going to talk about some transformational investing in a new index fund that's out there. So with that, a lot of cool things to get into this morning. If you're catching us on replay, make sure you subscribe to get those replays. If not, if you want to join us live, it's only 25 bucks a month. Go to On Time On Target now to sign up. And with that, strap in and get ready for takeoff. Here we go. All right, welcome everybody. Here we go. Get the right screen shared out. So hopefully you like the new intro there. Get that moved over. Come on. Technological issues on a Monday morning. All right. Share, get over to this screen so we can look at the overview. All right, there we go. Again, hopefully you like new feedback again, or like the new thing looking like I'm right here in the airplane. Anyhow, let me know if you like it or not. All right, make sure that you have your chat window pulled up, your Q&A window pulled up with a call sign in. It looks like everybody is good to go this morning. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence before you act on anything you hear in this presentation. All right, our objectives today are going to be to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Specifically, we're talking about growing our money today through transformational investing. So it's kind of what I do when you hear me talk continually about investable theses that each of the holdings I have you in, if you're with me, as far as an investor or as far as a client. But this is kind of taking all of those different themes of the what's new and bringing it all into one index fund. So I'll show that to you and we'll go over the names that are down here below. Also, I discovered investing.com. You would think, that I would already know about that. But hey, investing.com, what a simple website name. And it's got some really cool stuff, especially some pre-market stuff. So I will show you that real time. It's a pretty good place to go for some screening. So I'll be checking that on a morning basis as I do my self-study before I get to you guys to give you my presentations for today. All right, as far as the flow, long, short, open, short, long, again, we'll go through the market review, hit the headlines. There's the long-term investments that we'll talk about, starting with Netflix. Short-term scorecard, we're up for the month. We were down last week, though. We're going to fix that this week, and we'll execute the market and go on into the question of the day. All right, contingencies are standard. Let's go over to TD Ameritrade and look at where we've been in the market. Here's the one-year view of the S&P 500 popping up right now. Left to right, again, going into the election, I called that we're going to be down to that 300 to 320 range. We are not there. We may try to find it this week, though. So I was talking about this weekend with a client. You can pretty much count on the market dropping at least 1% per day after the election if we don't have a clear winner. So think about that. So Tuesday is the election. Tuesday night, if we have somebody, basically resign or concede, then we have a clear winner and we move on with life. Life is good. Markets can kind of recover, reprice everything, and go from there. However, if we have a contested election that ends up going through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think about 1% a day is what you're going to see for a sell-off until Friday. And then you're going to see a hard sell-off because people aren't going to want to hold hold things through the weekend. So that's where I think we'll get particularly ugly. So we'll see how it happens. We will stay nimble. Again, we'll hold our best to breathe through it. But this week going into the election, I can't imagine there's any news that's going to drive us higher except for stimulus, starting to look less likely. Vaccine, not this week, right? Too much going on. And then, of course, all the election, blah, 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 that's out there is basically going to take it slower. All right, here's the 5-day. You can kind of tell Friday wasn't bad, but then we had the big gap down going into the pre-election week out there. As far as setting up your charts, I didn't type it in, so you'll have to listen real quick. I only have one long for you. I have drawn the arrows ahead of time, so I don't have to try to dork with that real time. So again, always trying to improve my process. Gamble, we're looking long. Norwegian Cruise Lines looking short, and then United Airlines looking short. So anyhow, that's what we'll come back to once we get to that portion of the show. All right, let's take a look at the headlines around the world. Here's where we are in the US. So it's kind of been all over the place. Started down about 1%, went less, came back. Now we're down a little over 1% in the Dow. So expect negativity, and it's all on the U.S. COVID cases. I'm even in my little tiny circle here in Round Rock, Texas, we're seeing more cases. So I do believe this wave is real. So we'll see how that affects the markets. All right, across the board in Asia, kind of mixed, not a whole lot going on there. Europe down big in Germany there, 3%, not as bad across the other two. US, here were our numbers from Friday. VIX up around 30 or so. So again, an increase in that VIX. I do expect it to go up this week. Bonds kind of not too much change there. Oil did not hold 40, so it's back below 40 there. Gold and silver even sold off a little bit going into the market open today. So keeping an eye on things. All right, as far as the headlines, record average daily high of 68,000. You can read it. Okay, so my client I met yesterday is a pharmacist, and I asked him specifically, I go, what is the normal false positive rate on these COVID tests? And he goes, 30%. Isn't that unbelievable? 30%. That's the initial, the quick look test that people are popping positive with, and then they get the secondary test, and it's the, oh, by the way, you don't actually have it. I mean, I don't know how many times we're going to go through this drill, but when your initial test to see if the quick reaction test is a 30% false positive rate, that almost brings into question whether you should do it at all. I mean, because you're going to be jumping through hoops. So I don't know, I'm no doctor, but I was shocked and sat there kind of dumbfounded while he told me that. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but that's also what he does. So he's like, I'm all for it. And that's what everybody's getting tested on and popping positive. We had one here in volleyball and we were going to, oh my gosh, shut down. Then it's the unshut down everybody because she really doesn't have it, and all of the stress that goes with all that. So anyhow, interesting. Dunkin' stocks looks like it's going to merge. Dunkin' Donuts, that was in a bunch of merger and acquisition news out this morning. New AirPods coming out. I do have the iPhone 12, so give it a big recommendation. It looks invisible there on the screen. However, Verizon torquing me off. I can't get it to 5G yet, so I guess I have to call them and figure out how to do it. I couldn't enable it on my phone by just clicking enable 5G. So we'll see. Hopefully it works. New AirPods are coming out. That will be a boost for them. Higher taxes depending on the election. Amy Barrett nomination confirmation, that'll sail through the Senate today. Nothing real new there. And then the fighting begins. This was probably worth a read. If you remember, I was in Vegas at the Circle Bar in the Hard Rock Casino, specifically on election night in 2000, when I looked up, and of course you can't hear anything, it's casino music playing. I looked up and I saw that Al Gore was the next president of the United States, being, ABC declares blah, 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 and all that bull crap that they went through. And then it's so I don't know, saw a couple of thoughts that went, well, that wouldn't have been my choice, it's not who I voted for, and moved on. And then come to find out, well, that's actually not true, and that ultimately Bush won. So I don't know. We could be in for an epically painful end of the year. So we shall see. I can't imagine this will just be a clean election, but who knows? All right, let's switch over to our transformational investing and talk about that a little bit. So first of all, from a transformational investing standpoint, you should always think this way. Just because Ford was a great stock forever doesn't mean it always will be forever. Just because General Electric was doesn't mean it always will be. However, you have to look at that to now too. So Apple may not always be, even though it's been a fantastic stock for over a decade. Same thing with Tesla. So you always have to take into how the world is changing and price that into your investments and then make changes based off of what you find. Well, there's a new index fund out that's been trading for 5 days now. It's called ANEW, ANEW, and we'll look at it here in a minute. And it's supposed to take like all of the work from home / COVID themes and try to price it all into one index fund. So I'm not a huge fan of these index funds, and here's exactly why. So when I do my research for this index fund, let's look at their top holding. Top holding. I know you can't see that because of some crazy technology. Top holding is John Deere. You're going to tell me that's the most transformational thing you have in your thing? So they have 102 million in John Deere stock. So it's like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, maybe they're doing stuff I don't know about. I don't really follow it. So next is Baba, Apple, Amazon, Adobe, Microsoft. It's like, so catchy new name, and that's where these things can catch a lot of hype. But catchy new name, good idea, but it's a marketing tool, right? Put a suit on, go flying around the country, buy people steak dinners, tell them about this a new index fund and have them invest their money. Not my thing. I hate that kind of stuff. But I do like some holdings that are in there. Netflix, I've been in for a while. For some folks, again, it ran up huge, sitting here at 488 after it touched 600 twice and sold off hard. They just had earnings, so they know that didn't go that great because of lack of subscriber growth. And it's a challenging time. It's hard to make new content. Obviously, the big movie studios are getting crushed and having to sell their stuff to Netflix, but it's hard to make imagine making Lord of the Rings or whatever, where you need 500, or Game of Thrones where you need 500 extras, right? You can't have all those people there. There's one being shot here locally that's basically a 20-person movie, major movie with 20 people on the cast. And of course, they have to get tested every other day and all of the COVID protocols that go with it for all the right reasons, but painful to produce content. So do I recommend Netflix here? I'm starting to like it again. I'm not buying anything really except for bond funds until after the election. So we'll see what happens. If the election starts bringing the market in, Netflix at 450 would be just fine. All right, another name that they have in there is GRUB. This is one that do not touch. Warning, warning, warning. Ever since this, the time to buy it was here, maybe here, not here, right? Because it's run up so much. So when you look at 15% short float, a lot of people betting against this. A lot of competitors to GRUB. Even the adult entertainment folks were doing, meals on heels. And I mean, there's all kinds of entrepreneurial efforts that are going on. So don't put your money behind something like this. The gains have already been made. If anything, it's time to actually get out. All right, let's take a look over at the Schwab screen. We'll look at another couple names that are in there, and then we'll go on into our day trading stuff. All right, we talked about Netflix already and GRUB. Upper right is Intuitive Surgical. It's kind of a leading edge technology equipment maker for cutting edge medical stuff. So pretty good name to be in. It's run up significantly, obviously, but this is one you can buy. You're going to hold it for a long time because they do great work. Beyond is Beyond Meat. You remember when this IPO'd, it went crazy. Everybody in Hollywood had to have a share. That's how you know when you need to step away from an IPO. Came crashing down to below 100 again. Now it's starting its march back higher, but again, I think there's just too many competitors here for me in this space. They're kind of the leader. I'll give them that, but too many competitors where I wouldn't put money behind it. Salesforce, again, think for the work from home, all the protocols that the major companies have to put in place now so people can talk to each other, database management, maintain, notes on your customers, to be able to have that available to everybody. So when the phone rings at Jimmy's house, he knows about the last 7 phone calls that took place. All of that is CRM stuff. So obviously, Salesforce has capitalized on that. They're the best in breed, and they'll continue to do that. So no problem putting money in there. GRUB we talked about. Last one is a new, bottom right here. Again, you can see it's traded for a whopping 6 days. These things tend to be fancy and kind of hyped. I think this one kind of fell flat, to be honest. It's down from where it opened. So much like the previous 2 IPOs, Palantir and Asana both kind of flopped too. So I think people are a little more conservative going into the election. All right, let's take a look at some short-term names. Again, the 3 that I've got for you here, I'll put them, we don't have time to put them in there. The one long I'll take a look at is GMBL. Again, we're already set for this. It's GMBL. All right, I wasn't familiar with these guys till this morning. So esports entertainment, I like the price point though, and I like the action. So 460 here, it's gapping up to 5. You know, 5 can be kind of a magic number to go higher. Realize I don't like taking things going. I'd rather take things short than long. And today's kind of a big down day, probably trending back down. But if you wanted to go long because you're in a retirement account, this is the one you need to get into for going long. It's the only one I really like out of the names that are out there. As far as the shorts, number 1 short out there is Norwegian Cruise Lines. Again, primarily for 2 reasons. There's a bunch of, you'll see a headline there on a bunch of options stuff that can tell you that there's a lot of volatility. But it's got plenty of volume. It's gapping down nicely. There's the second wave / all the corona negativity associated going into cruise line. So it's perfectly set up for that. I love the chart as we look at it. And it was up 3.5% on Friday. So it's already retracing Friday's move. So really like that. The last one I'll pull up for you here is United Airlines. All the airlines are getting hit, not as hard as the cruise line, so there's no headline here, but a lot of volume. And again, 38.01 to 37, so it gives you almost that 5%. These are kind of safe because who's buying these today, right? So it's not that they have the big downward motion that we want from that big negative headline. It's just the safety of being in from these things screaming higher. You know, what activist investors are going to come in and buy United Airlines today? Last one I'll show you if you want to this is more having fun. If you want to get in, you'll get it. It's a nickel. It'll be a nickel entry point. But if you want to take AMC short, same thing. They've dropped a nickel this morning on plenty of volume, 297 down to 292. That's just kind of funny to me. Nobody's buying this thing, so you can see where it's been. Not going to make a ton of money to the downside, but it's a pretty safe bet. All right, 2 minutes to the market open. We are now going to switch over to TD Ameritrade and get set up for our trading. So there's the 4 screens that are popping up. I already have them there with the arrow. So we're going to zoom in a little bit on each, retaining that arrow in the window. Of course, I say retaining the arrow, and then all of a sudden it's not there. Why is that not doing that? The arrow's up above. Gotcha. I'll have to think about that when I draw my arrows again. Okay, interesting move here in UAL. What's that? 50-cent pop higher there, so we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so again, as you get set up here and bring your, you want to be short, so make sure you're in the appropriate account for that, unless you're taking the long. I'm going to take the short myself, but I'll call them both if they set up. So doing a little typing here myself, getting everything set up for selling short in the Norwegian. Okay, your stops are going to be for gamble. I would use a 5-cent stop. So that's going to be pretty tight. Norwegian 20-cent stop. So manage that GR correctly. United is 35-cent stop. So do some math real quick on where that puts you. All right, I'm ready to go. All right, 30 seconds to go. Welcome to the On Time On Target morning day trade of the day. We have 4 screens in front of you. We have the SPY all the way to the left on a 1-minute chart. We have gamble long if you're interested in taking a long today, but I would recommend shorts. My number one shorts at NCLH. They're in the upper right. There's the opening bell. Again, negativity associated with COVID is why we'd be in that name. And then the one off to the far right is UAL. Same thesis. All right, let's start looking at getting into NCLH. Going to take this pretty quick here. So let's use, what did I say for the stop? 20-cent stop, 20 up to 80 if we get in at 60. Let's do 1760 here. So again, 1760 is going to be our entry point. Did it hit it? Yep, it hit it. So get that in. Going off camera so I don't look at myself. So we're in at 1760. Again, 20-cent stop, so it's going to be up here at 1780. I'll draw it at 77 just so we can see it. Hopefully we don't ever see it again, right? So again, here's our entry point. I do have time to draw the arrow down, but it's not going to let me draw the arrow because I'm bad at this arrow thing. There we go. Oh, well, that's our down arrow. All right, first stop is going to be down at 1740. We're not there yet, but we certainly do like it the way it's setting up. So if you want to check back, see what your actual entry point was. I'm always curious as to where I'm exactly in at which I'm in, I guess is better English-wise. All right, let's see as far as our other trades. Gamble long is not working. The market's actually going higher, so that's working against us. 495, so I don't like gamble long. I'm going to look at another long here real quick that had set up, but it didn't have a headline, was Jumia Tech. Wasn't ready to stab into it without a real reason to. It's nice with the cruise lines because you know those people aren't just buying that. If you want to get super aggressive, 36.5 is, let me calculate, 35 would be 37.20. Yeah, I wouldn't take United here. I would just stick with the one short we have in Norwegian. Because kind of needed to be more aggressive on UAL there. It's already moved enough to where let's back this out. Yeah, the low pre-market, it's almost down there already. So not really interested in United. Let's check AMC. Again, this would be short in the right-hand screen. All right, yeah, this would be, I'm not going to take it myself, but well, we talked about that 5-cent stop. You could even take it here at 287, do a 6-cent stop up to 293. So I'll draw it, but I'm not taking it. But again, if you wanted it, there's your entry point there. Just grab it now. And I think you're safe from it ripping over the high of the day, right? So now you may not, with a 6-cent stop times 3, that's 18 cents. Does it have 18 cents to run down from here? I do not know. This thing is literally, if you hear the clicking going on, that's hilarious. Stop. There, that's the arrow. All right, so how are we here? We're at our 1R point, so 1240. So things are going well. So 1260, 20 cents down to 1240. That's 1R. So there's our 1. All right, looking for 1720 and then 17 even for our exit. So just let it go. There's Jumia going higher. We're not in it, but that looks like it's working. I do like to see that the market's rolling back over. So I like where we are with our trade. I have no concerns with it at all. Make sure I have the stop in there, right? Yeah, the next one's at 20. There's our second stop. So depending on how your exit is set up, you might want to look at that for a second. 1, 2, come on. All right, let me get my exit set up because I don't have it set up yet. I have the upper stop still in. Norwegian, buy back. I'm going to buy the whole amount. This is one I feel strong enough to let it go all day. Now, if the market would roll over red hard here, I would keep it all day. Otherwise, I'll just take my R. Everybody's R is different, so whatever you put at risk, 3 times that is what you'll make when it hits 17 even, which is down here. So kind of have that ready to go. All right. I'm not going to stare at that. I'm going to bring you back over to the main screen where I'm going to talk about investing.com. Get everything set up here. And pull my trading window out of that so you don't actually see my trading window. That would not be good. Okay, let's share out to, not that one, this one. Okay, this isn't, so have your trade pulled up on another screen, or I'll verbalize it if I see it hit 17, or put it in the chat, your call. We're still up 2R on that trade. All right, as far as this is investing.com, I found this morning. I'll bring my camera back up here. Found this morning, and it's, you know, pretty good as far as what I was looking for was pre-market stuff. So I went to investing.com, and in equities pre-market, I Googled it, but this is where I kind of landed. But I'm gonna save this for tomorrow. And this, I mean, pretty cool. So it's got the pre-market most actives, which again, I'm looking down now, they all have millions of shares, but pre-market, normally you don't have quite that many million, right? You're looking for that 100,000. It's got your top gainers and your top losers. Generally, these are going to be outside of our parameters, meaning more than 10%. But before we leave that page, it does have your economic activity, and it has the results when they come in. So it has you know, if there's a forecast, it's there, has the actual, and then it has the previous numbers. That's pretty cool. Hasbro released earnings this morning. It has a little sunshine if it's before, excuse me, a little sun if it's before the market. It has a little moon if it's after the market. So at a glance, you can tell where these things are. So, and it tells you, you know, here's the forecast, there's the actual earnings. So a big beat there, and there's the revenue, and there's the actual. So yeah, pretty cool, right? That's what I thought was pretty neat about that. And then as far as the Dow rarely has anything that's moving enough, but the S&P 500 does. So this is kind of similar as the tabs I usually go over to on a different screen with Schwab, but these are much easier, you know, eye-catching. You have your volume right here and your change, so that way you can surf and find exactly what you want. Okay. And then you do your NASDAQ 100. Generally, that may or may not be. Certainly, when you open up the entire NASDAQ, you're going to see stuff that's going to fall in. That's what I'm doing to surf for these day trades in the morning. So pretty cool, and that's without even looking around at all. All right, so let's go back over. We're 7 minutes into the day. Let's go back over to our trade. We'll check on it real quick. Going to bring down the, ooh, look at that big stripe down in Jumia. All right, going to, don't need that anymore. Doing some window management here for a second, and then we'll talk about long-term investing stuff. So even though we're in our trade, here's your 17. Once it hits this, you can go ahead and hop on out of your 3R trade. So there is your bar one. Don't click angry. There we go. That's a 3. All right. So we're waiting for it to hit that. Once it hits 17, you can execute out of that trade, and there it is. So there's your 3Rs. Try to actually draw this again. I don't know why I continue to frustrate myself with trying to draw a 3 on here when it does not work. But there's our 3R trade. Works great. Now it's not working at all as far as the pencil. So backing it out just a little bit, show you the whole entirety of the trade. We talked pre-market, get ready for it to go short. We took it here at 1760. We used a 20-cent stop over to 1780, which is that high of the day. We waited for it to go 1, 2, 3R, and now we're out of the trade. If you want to hold this, that's on you. I'm not holding it. I'm not greedy. I'll take 3x what I risked and call it a day. So you're on your own from there. Ooh, I was going to look at AMC. I did not take this one, but we talked about how, yeah, if you take it, let's see, yeah, take it here and put a stop above the high of the day. It's probably going to leak all day. Don't know for sure. Obviously, you're in a 3-cent trading range, so not a lot of movement out of it. All right, let's look at overall the Big names on the move up today: Palantir, Baba, Trade Desk, Sony. So Sony PlayStation 5's coming out at some point in time here, so get ready for that. I think they will do great over Christmas, so I'm not buying any Sony until the actual election. Hopefully there's a sell-off so we can get some cheaper. Let's look at what's in the red today. All right, psychedelic name, Clickstream in Northwest Bio. It's already run up, so not worried about that. There's Delta Airlines. Hillian's the old Shell, the new ticker for it. Workhorse, so a lot of the EV names are selling off this morning. Bank of America selling off, Lockheed Martin. So pretty broad sell-off when you look at the whole board, and they're already down over 1%. So as far as the indices, you have your Dow down over 1%. You have your NASDAQ at 0.3, not as bad, and your S&P 0.9. So, all right, that's where we are. There's the trade that we were in and exited, and that's really all I've got for you today. Nothing in the chat. You guys are awfully quiet. That's not uncommon on a Monday, and then no Q&A. So again, if you're catching us on replay, subscribe so you get these notifications. And if you want to join us live, $25 a month to do so. With that, I'm going to let you guys go, and you guys have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.